Godzilla Kong, the New Empire stomps into theaters at the end of March, which has fans jittery with excitement. But how will this new saga fit in with the long tradition of Godzilla movies? From the trailer, we can tell that it's a continuation of the previous flick, Godzilla vs. Kong. But it also looks to be taking us into a new tech-driven journey in the series. The Infinity Gauntlet-style glove we see on Kong in the trailer has already set the internet rumor mill ablaze with theories about overlapping with the MCU. Of course, others are thinking it's just a protective cast for an injury Kong sustains in the movie. Who knows? I thought I'd take a stroll through the history of the Godzilla movies with an eye on how they all led up to this epic-looking movie. Let's first head back to 1954, when Godzilla made its first thunderous appearance on the big screen. Born from the imagination of filmmakers in Japan, it was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The franchise can now boast more than 30 films produced by Japan alone, with several more made outside its home country. Some notable ones include The Return of Godzilla in 1984, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack in 2001, and even last year's Godzilla -1. And each movie invites us into a world where the lines between monster and protector, not to mention chaos and order, get pretty blurry. They are also laced with themes that resonate to all of us in the modern era. Things like the impact of human actions on the environment, the ethical dilemmas of scientific advancements. That and, what would it be like if there were giant monsters crushing everything? It's also cool to look at them in the context of special effects. Early on, it was all practical. Actors in monster suits stomping over miniature cities. Of course, nowadays it's mostly CGI, but the Godzilla series in particular holds a fond place in the hearts of fans for those old-school movie-making techniques. And either way, it's a challenge for the actors. Millie Bobby Brown talked a little bit about the challenges of filming the last one.
In real time, we're looking at a tennis ball. We're looking at a big X. We're looking at a laser sometimes.
With its towering presence and atomic breath, Godzilla became a symbol of the nuclear age. Sure, it was a movie character, but it was also an attempt by Japanese filmmakers to comment on the anxieties of a world still reeling from the aftermath of World War II. But Godzilla hasn't stayed a one-note, city-destroying beast. Over the years, Godzilla has evolved into kind of a complex character. Sometimes a hero, other times an anti-hero, but always Godzilla. Cue Lady Gaga singing Born This Way, am I right? There was huge buzz around the 1998 movie starring Matthew Broderick. It was a big deal because it was one of the first major American adaptations. This film was a departure from the traditional Godzilla movies in many ways, but when TriStar Pictures bought the rights from the Japanese rights holders, Toho, they agreed to remain, quote, true to the original series, cautioning against nuclear weapons and runaway technology. At that point, it was 1992, though. Between then and its 1998 release, the movie went through many writers, directors, producers, and actors. By then, there wasn't much focus on staying true to the Japanese originals. It was more about living up to the box office numbers of recent alien attack movies like Independence Day. Then came Legendary Pictures with its MonsterVerse. This was a game changer. Starting with Godzilla in 2014, the series brought Godzilla back to its roots while also giving it a modern twist. These films have paid homage to the original themes of nature versus humanity and the consequences of nuclear power. But they've been charging hard in the direction of modern storytelling, CGI, etc. And whether you dig the new direction or you're a purist, you have to admit these films show the flexibility of the Godzilla franchise. They demonstrate how a story can be told and retold in so many different ways, resonating with all types of audiences. Which of course brings us to Godzilla Kong, the New Empire. Most fans are excited to find out how this next installment will blend the rich history of Godzilla with the thrilling spectacle of modern cinema. And honestly, most fans are just excited to see these two kaiju on screen together again. So what do we know about this next iteration? Well, it appears from the trailer that things pick up not too long after the last movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, where we were treated to the two monsters joining forces. According to Legendary Pictures, the new movie has these two monsters fighting, quote, a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world. And it appears that threat is Scar King, a fearsome Kong-like creature with seemingly an army of warriors. The director, Adam Wingard, has been pretty philosophical about this villain, saying, quote, "The Scar King almost represents an upscaled version of the worst parts of humanity, just as Kong represents some of the best parts of humanity." He also stressed the enormity and danger of this baddie, saying, quote, "I would say the Scar King is the greatest threat that we've seen in these movies. It's really going to take a full team together to bring it down because it's too big for just one Titan." This time around, we don't have MBB on board, but there are some returning stars like Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, and Kaylee Hoddle. And they're joined by Downton Abbey star Dan Stevens. While there haven't been any official cast interviews released yet, when Rebecca was asked about the wild plot of the previous movie, she said,
"I suspect there'll be twists and turns and who knows what and this and that, and that was my suspicion."
And frankly, that's a pretty good strategy. I, for one, will be happy to just go along for the ride when I see Godzilla Kong: The New Empire. So whether you're a new fan or a long-time Godzilla head, Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire will probably have something for you. I, for one, can't wait to see these epic kaiju joining forces again to fight a new mystery baddie. Have any thoughts about how it will mesh with the longtime movie series? Pop them in the comments.